Hi, this is Sandy Price, and what you're looking at right now is a picture of my computer and the Arizona State University Blackboard page where our class, NLM 310 Volunteer Management, is going to be held today. You're actually looking at the instructor's version, obviously, and I know that there are some differences between my version and your version. For example, if you look over on the left-hand side where you've got a link panel, you can see there's some little gray things by some of these, and that means they're empty. I don't know if you can see that gray thing, but there are lots of little differences, so you might see something a little bit different. But what I wanted to do is take you on a little tour around the classroom in case you haven't ever had an entire class online. I'm joined today by 5 dogs. My son-in-law's 2 dogs, my 2 dogs, and a foster dog. So if you start hearing dog noises, that explains it in advance. Okay, so first of all, we're on the announcements area, and right this minute there's nothing there except this cute little welcome photo that I found for you. I emailed it to you, so you've already got it in your email, but some of you will find that nothing that shows up on announcements that's a picture or a video will necessarily show up on your email. It depends on what kind of email you have. So if you get an empty email, it's probably a photo or a video. Just know that if you come here to the announcements, that I actually use the announcements to send you the email. It's got an email function on it so that you know that there's something there for you to come look at, and it will be here for you. Okay, so that's the least important part for right now, although you should check, routinely to see if there's something here. All right, so this section, Meet Your Instructors, you can find out about me and about Rang, our teaching assistant. So you have to click on those to see. I haven't updated Rang, so let's open it up and see if it works, because all my pictures didn't work when I came back here this semester. Just so you know, what I do is I ask them to transfer last year's class into this year's class, so I don't have to rebuild the entire thing, although this year I did, but there are other reasons for that. And the reason that I'm pointing this out, aside from the fact that if Rang has pictures in here, yeah, see, she'll have to fix her pictures. But the reason I'm pointing this out is because it's important for you to know that there are a lot of things that go bonkers when they import a class every semester. So if something doesn't work, please let me know, and I will go check it out and see if I have to rebuild it. All right, so much more important than meeting your instructors, this is where you can find your syllabus. And it's done, it's ready for this semester. It is a complete makeover from last semester. So if you've talked to anybody, you'll know that was, any students who have taken this class from me before, you will know that last semester I envisioned this great big idea, and I decided it was too big of an idea for any of us. It was a semester from hell for my students and for me, and you are going to be benefiting a lot from the pilot project that I did with them last semester. I have much simplified it for you guys. So here you will find the syllabus, and also I just want to say that sometimes I need to change the syllabus. I will never retroactively change it, but if I do change it, I will let you know. And I don't know if you can see it right here, but that didn't work. But at any rate, there's a date. So this is dated yesterday, and it's right here. It's dated 1/8 because I put it up just a few minutes ago, and it's after 1 o'clock in the morning, so it's actually the 8th. But I finished the syllabus yesterday, and so you will see the date. And if I put a new one up, I will not only tell you, but you'll be able to check the date of the syllabus you have against this date. All right, also you will see right here, there is something called Sandy's Writing Rubric. Let's see if I can get it to open here. No, that's kind of crazy. All right, let me see if I can just find it. course not. Here we go. Oops. Don't care about that. Care about getting up this writing rubric for you. That is not the writing rubric. That is the syllabus, but let's see if the writing rubric is about to come up on top of it. Yeah, I think it will. All right, well, while we're waiting for it to open up, it'll probably surprise us here. Let's just take a look at the syllabus. Obviously, this whole class is conducted online. However, I don't know, you guys will be all over the place. When I have online classes, students are sometimes not even in town. But if you are in town and you want an office hour, you can see right here what my office hours are. Okay, it doesn't want to highlight for me today, but that's okay. But I am also available by virtual office hours, and by that I mean I will meet you on Google Hangouts or Skype or Facebook chat or wherever you want, and we can have a video conference, and if need be, we can have a phone call. All right, so well, while I'm waiting for that to make itself real, let's see if I can scroll through this. I'm having trouble working through my camera system, and I apologize for that. Okay, well, maybe we're not going to do it that way because for whatever reason it's having a hard time coming up. So let's go back over here and we'll wait for that to come up. It'll probably come up on top of it. All right, so I'll show you the writing rubric in a minute, and we'll go through the syllabus a little bit too. But an important thing while we're waiting is to look at the course content folder. This is where you will find all the stuff you need. So there's writing forms and a rubric. I think actually that may be the same rubric that I put with the syllabus. Yeah, it's there. But also what you'll find here is you're going to be asked to write up your readings, not just so that I can give you busy work, but because I've asked you to write them up in such a way that you can plop them right into your final report. And by the time you get to the end of the semester, most of your final report will have already been written because you'll be writing it week by week. So there's a blank chapter write-up template here that you should use, and it's really just 3 questions that you need to answer. And there is a sample chapter write-up right here. I literally took chapter 5 that you're going to be asked to read, and I wrote it up for you. So I don't know why I picked chapter 5. I just did. I actually did the work. It took me 65 minutes altogether to read the entire chapter, pick out the important points, and there are instructions on this sample write-up and also in your syllabus. It took me 65 minutes to pick out the important points, write them down, and then pull out the supporting evidence from the chapter. And you don't have to understand that right now. You will read it later in the syllabus, and you'll also see it on this sample chapter write-up. All right, and this writing rubric is the thing I'm still waiting for to come up over here. It isn't coming up very fast, so we'll just leave that behind until it gets up. Okay, discussion board. Let's see what's behind this door. Okay, so there's a bunch of things that you need for class on the discussion board. The first thing is that this week you need to come over here because we will be working in groups, and the way I'm going to group you is by your availability. So in this place you will see that there's a bunch of choices. If your best availability is Sundays or Saturdays or Tuesday, Thursday afternoons or evenings, Tuesday, Thursday mornings, etc. and so forth, pick that. If you have 2 really good slots, then that's fine. Put your name in both of them. That's just fine if you do. That is a thing that you need to do this week. By week 3, I'm going to have grouped you. So please, please remember to get this done. All right, so let's return to the generic discussion board. The next thread down, this section is called Request for Ideas Discussion Board. We are going to be working this semester with real organizations, and you're not going to have to spend a lot of time talking to them. You will have to go visit with them once. But what you are going to do mostly is be working off of a very deep survey that I have given to all of them and that they will have filled in before you need them. I did this last year, and most of the surveys were really well filled out. Only one of them wasn't. And if anybody fills it out so lousy this semester, I'm going to reject them. So at any rate, what you will have is a very, very deep dive of information about an organization. And you're going to compare what they are already doing, what they're telling you they're doing in their volunteer program, to what your readings say are best practices. Okay, and your final report basically is going to be, so your weekly reading assignment is best practices on whatever the subject matter is. So whether it's getting your organization ready for volunteers, or whether it's later, how to write a volunteer job description, there's all these sections. And you're going to look at their survey and you're going to learn, are they, have they done these best practices for getting their organization ready? Do they use job descriptions? How do they recruit? So on. They will have answered all that information for you, and you will see what they've done and what they haven't done. And what they haven't done are the big gaps that they probably need to do. And so it's going to be, here's your writing assignment. Then you're going to write up what they've done or haven't done from the survey. And if they didn't give you all the information, you need more, you just send them an email and get it. And then the end will be what your recommendations are for them to do. That mostly it will be stuff that the book says they should do that they're not doing, but there will be some circumstances that you'll have to be kind of creative about it. All right, so the reason for this discussion board here is because if you're not sure, or if you want more ideas, or if you don't think your ideas are, like that creative or maybe not that responsive, throw your problem up on this discussion board and other people will come and give you ideas, either because they're creative and they've got good ideas, or because they know that something else is being done in a different organization and they can tell you what's going on in their organization that might work for yours. Because, one organization is going to have a really good recruiting program and another one's going to be stupid, right? So anyway, you actually have to do this. You get points for doing it. Each team needs to put up at least 2 requests for information, and each of you needs to answer at least 6 of those requests. And I don't do that to make busy work. I do it because you're all working with different organizations that are all doing different things. And by sharing the information, it gives you a lot more ideas. Now, the thing is, these reports that you are doing are actually going to go back to the organizations and be useful to them. So I really want them to be good. I want you to have as many ideas to think about as you can, and to reject the ones that you don't think fit, but to pick from among the best. And I don't care if you didn't think it up. I don't care if you got it from somebody else in the classroom. It's all a good exchange of ideas and information, gets you thinking, and ultimately will result in a much better product for them. The cool thing about what we're doing this semester is that we're actually helping organizations. And you're getting some concrete consulting experience using real organizations. You're going to be able to see what they're really doing and what they're not doing. You're going to get a feel for how organizations do their volunteer programs and what their problems are. And that's a lot better than my just telling you, or even you reading about it. And at some point during the semester, you are actually required to set up a meeting with your organization, just one. And if you happen to be taking this class from out of town, then let me know and we will find you an organization to go visit where you are. Or if your team is going, they can take you by FaceTime or whatever. You can travel virtually into that meeting with your pals. So your team members. Okay, anyway, so that's what that discussion board is for. Now, there's one more discussion board here, and this is not a mandatory board. But if you have a question about the course, not the substantive questions, but if you can't figure out what a due date is, if you think something's missing, or if you're having trouble posting something, or if you can't find a form that you think you're supposed to be able to use, come here and ask it. And if you see a question that somebody else has asked that you know the answer to, answer it. because there are 75 of you and there aren't that many of me. And it is a huge class, and I will try to be as responsive as I can, but I am teaching 6 classes this semester, and it might just be faster if some student answers you. So I've put this up here just for your convenience so that you might be able to get a faster answer. But I promise, Rang and I will check this as often as we possibly can and try to get you your answers, but you guys just might be faster. So that is the discussion board. Let's see if my document's up yet. No, it's not. Well, you might just have to go look at that by yourself. All right, so where am I? Honestly, this is just a little crazy for me. Okay, well, that isn't working. This isn't working. And I don't know if I can, yep, there. Okay, so we can go through the syllabus a little bit. All right, so syllabus is obvious. There's all that information at the top that you can read, my phone number, my email address, all that kind of stuff. The course description and your learning outcomes, which I hope actually happen and think they will. Okay, so you see this picture. This is your book. This book is not actually in hard copy print anymore. There are a lot of used versions around, but there are 3 different editions of this. So if you get a used book, which is just fine, please, please get this, the one that looks like this, because the 2 other editions were really different inside, and you will have a lot of confusion trying to find the right information if you don't get this, but it's fine to get it used. You can also get an online digital version if you follow this little link right here, and that's not that expensive as books go. It's $29. I actually tried to find you information that was free, but after looking, and I mean looking and looking at hundreds of documents, I decided that this was the most consistent, and I don't know why they don't print it anymore, because it just covers the field probably better than any of the stuff that's out there, and certainly better than any of the free stuff I could find. So this is what we're using. You can have it downloaded. You can print it off once you do download it if you prefer to read it that way. And you can read it online if you want, or you can find, I know there was a few used copies and some new copies actually at the bookstore last semester downtown when I went to look, and there's probably some in Tempe too. So if this is the only reason you're going to the bookstore, you might want to check. Okay, next session, talking about Blackboard. You don't care about that. See this little thing over here? I don't know if you know this, but the rule of thumb for this university is that for every hour that you are in class, you should expect to spend 2 to 3 more hours outside of class. I honestly don't know how students take these 21-hour course loads, because if you do the math on that, you'd be killing yourself. So realistically, I don't think you will spend 9 hours a week on this class. I really don't, but it could happen that some weeks you have to. And it also depends on how fast you read or how slow you read, and the same about your writing, because you do, as I said, have this weekly writing assignment that is a big part of writing your weekly report, which will, get you ahead of the game. I mean, your final report will get you ahead of the game in terms of your report, but will still take some time every week. Okay, so just be aware that even though you don't have an in-class, the amount of time you're expected to spend here is the same. Okay, there's a little bit of information here about online structure, but I'm going to leave it right behind because I did a whole video for you that's an online orientation, and I insist that everybody watch it, even though I don't have an assignment to prove to me that you did. In fact, I think you probably should have watched it before you watch this one, because it's going to tell you absolutely everything extra that you have to do to be a success in an online class that anybody who takes an online class needs to do. And it is extra work for you, and it may not be what you think. Like, there are field trips and there are group work, and a lot of people think that an online class is just kind of an independent study thing, and it's just not. So if you have any doubts at all, you should be watching that one first, because it will help you make up your mind about whether this class is for you or not. And also, even students who are very interested and excited about being in an online class, find that it has certain difficulties that a regular face-to-face classroom does not have. And I have given you some solid tips. I've been teaching online since 2007, and I know what causes students to screw up, and I know what causes them to get ahead in an online environment. And I've given you the best advice that I can. Can't make you take it, but I want you to all succeed. So there you go. Okay, so where are we? Graded student requirements. These are the things that you have to turn in. So you will have weekly readings and write-ups. And those, you'll see them when we get to the calendar. And so here this is. And actually, I haven't actually calculated to see if this 120 points works. It's what worked last year. I think it's the same number of weeks, but I might have to adjust it a little bit based on if there's a different number of weeks this year, which sometimes they do make me crazy, academic calendar. But if that is, you'll see that getting adjusted a little bit. All right, so basically there is that template that I showed you and a sample for how you're supposed to write these things up. There are the first couple weeks you're not going to be using the template. It will be very obvious when we get to the calendar. But when you start getting into the actual text that I just showed you, the green book, the readings before that are about the history of volunteerism. They come from other sources. But once you get into that volunteer management book, you need to write every chapter up exactly the way I've asked you to do it because, again, as I said, it will be just dropped right into your final report. Okay, so your really big project, and it is a pretty big project. It's your final project, but it's also a project you're going to be working on across the whole semester. We will have about 20 organizations, maybe more, that want to have their volunteer management program reviewed and to be given ideas for how to improve it. Some of these organizations are really tiny and they do not have a volunteer program at all. And actually, those will be the easiest ones because you'll just recommend what the book says. But some of them will have, pretty established volunteer programs that work pretty well, but probably the person who runs it hasn't, thought about whether or not he or she should improve it in several years and just thinks this is a great opportunity to have some fresh eyes on what they're doing and get some good ideas for enhancing it. More likely than not, most of the people that come along will have, some kind of a, some kind of a okay volunteer program with a lot of bumps in their roads, and they will want you to tell them what they should be doing instead of what they are doing. Now, I know none of you know anything about this because we're just starting the class, but that's the point of reading the book. The book's going to tell you what they should be doing, and you're going to look at what they are doing, and you're going to read the book, and it's going to tell you, if they're this kind of organization or they're looking for these kind of volunteers, you should do X. And if they're that kind of organization looking for that kind of volunteers, you should do Y. And you're just going to tell them what the book said. And there will be some creative thinking going on here, but we'll get to that later. This is a really, really awesome opportunity for you guys, as I said, to actually get to work with some real volunteer issues. And as part of this project, you are also required to spend a day or the better part of a day. You can break this up if it's easier for you, but sometimes it's just easiest to knock it off in one day. To meet with your contact person, ask them whatever questions you have. As I said, you will have a lot of information already, but you will undoubtedly have a few questions. Ask them about your questions and get a tour of their facility and do some volunteer work for them to help you understand them better, and that will make you a better report writer because you'll really know what you're talking about. Okay, so there's some stuff in here about teams. The most important thing to know is that for virtual online teams, you need to meet regularly. You cannot have brainstorming conversations by text or by email. And this class has a once a week mandatory meeting that you guys will figure out what is the best day and time and way to get there. It's a virtual meeting, Google Hangouts, Skype, whatever you decide you want to do, any kind of chat that has a video, and it must have a video. And you're going to meet every week and you're going to show me proof that you did. And you're going to be grouped by, as I showed you, convenient days and times for you. So that should work. All right, so here is what you're going to have to turn in for your big project. A screenshot that shows me that you have picked a time and a place to meet. A screenshot of the appointment date email that you send off to your organization, and you'll be told in the calendar in a few minutes here when to do that. A request for ideas discussion board participation. This 20 points right here is the 20 points for your team's 2 requests that you will put on the board. But this right here, idea replies on the discussion board, you know, when somebody asks for ideas and you give them, you can earn up to 30 points. That's 5 points a piece. You would have to make 6 replies over the course of the semester. Okay, when you go in to meet with your client, you're going to take a set of interview questions. That's just going to be whatever it is you need to know that you don't already know or that you're curious about. But you're going to need to turn that into me and show me that you did it. Okay, this is your final report and recommendations. It's worth 150 points. And then you're going to have to give me some pictures to show me that you actually were down there volunteering. And then at the end of the semester, as always, if you take my classes and have a group project, there is a peer evaluation. If you have had my class before, this peer evaluation is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be worth 50 points, not its usual 100, and you are only going to evaluate your teammates, not yourself. I'm just trying that out, something new. Okay, there is an exam that is worth 100 points that is right at the end of the semester, but I would like to give you a great incentive not to have to take that exam. I've been told repeatedly by students that they like exams because even though they don't like taking them, it helps force them to read. Well, I'm going to double your incentive to read. We will have a final exam during the last week of class, but if you achieve 90% or better scores, point scores on your weekly write-ups, you will be allowed to waive the exam, and I will give you all 100 exam points. So there's a reason for this. As I said, these reports are really going to your clients. I would like to incentive you to make them as best as you possibly can. So to do that, I want you to do a really good job on them. You're going to end up having to fix them anyway if they aren't good later in the semester. So why not do it right the first time? If you do it right the first time, and you've got that writing rubric that won't come up here, but you'll be able to look at it when you get there. If you do it right the first time, not only will you not have to do any rewriting on your report, but you'll be able to completely blow off the exam. I hope that's good incentive. Anyway, you can read that again for yourself later. Okay, so what about the grading scale? This class is worth a total of 500 points. So what you need to do is at the end of the semester, add up all your points, or actually Blackboard will give you your number of points. Please ignore the percentages on Blackboard. Just trust me, I'll talk to you about it another time because this video is already getting long enough. But ignore the percentages, just look at the point total. At the end of the semester, you will take your point total and you will divide it by 5 because obviously 500 divided by 5 is 100. Here is your score scale, your grade scale, and you'll be able to see what you get based on where your number divided by 5 is. Okay, there's some more stuff in here. Just the normal stuff. Students with disabilities, where you can contact for help, late work, technology, online etiquette, academic integrity. By that I mean, cheating, how to know whether you're plagiarizing, which I really recommend that everybody read that, even if you think you know, because nearly every semester some group ends up unintentionally plagiarizing, and I'm forced to actually give them incomplete until they redo it. Nobody wants to be off on break or thinking they're graduating or whatever time of year it is for you when school's out this spring semester, and then find out they are not done. Okay, so here is our calendar. This is really important. It's where your instructions are, although there are more instructions week by week over here. But they really just kind of supplement, play off of, flesh out what's over here. So I like to put these little boxes here because it should help you. You should be able to you should be able to actually check off everything one at a time if you've done it, and then you'll know if you have done it. So your first week, you need to review your syllabus and check your week 1 folder. And this is your readings right here. Okay, all these things, these are actually, it looks like a lot, but it's not. It's a little tiny video. It's a timeline. It's not even anything written. This timeline is just kind of like a long line with little things shooting off of it, talking about, you know, when the first volunteer thing happened. And the real reading is the short history of volunteering, which is actually kind of interesting. And you will find all these readings again in the course content folder. Well, I'm not doing a good job of this. All right, so you can see that it says what you're supposed to read. It tells you, reminds you to go to the Blackboard and sign up for the days and times you can most easily meet. And this is to be done by Friday. And then it shows you your week 1 writing assignment. And until we get to the book, there's this assignment. I'm not going to read it to you. But down here you will see this is a due date. It's due the following, actually Tuesday because Monday is MLK Day, but normally it'll be Monday. These assignments tend to be due Monday at 8 a.m. The reason for that is that because this is an online class and I want to give you as much flexibility as I can, you do not have to think of this as a Monday through Friday school week as you would in a normal classroom. You can think of this as a Monday through Monday. So we will start each week at Monday at 8 a.m. and we will end the week the next Monday at 8 a.m. and start the fresh one. So obviously next Monday is MLK Day, but here is the stuff for week 2. Here's your reading. Oops, I'm screwing things up here. So undo that. Here's your reading. Here's your week 2 assignment due the following Monday, January 23rd at 8 a.m. All right? Okay, and then there's a reminder. If you haven't signed up for your best team meetings, you better get that done. Okay, week 3, here we go. This is where you start in with that green book, Volunteer Management. And it tells you right here in the course content folder is the document I just showed you, chapter write-up template and sample chapter write-up. Before you do anything, pull those things out and look at them because you should know what you're going to do before you start reading, so you'll be looking for the right stuff. Okay, so after you're done reading, then use the template and write up chapter 2 of the book. And the Blair article is missing. I have to go back and put that in. But I won't do it right now. All right, so well, maybe I will do it right now just since we're here. Okay, I won't do it now. I'll find it later. Anyway, that Blair article is about the cost of volunteers. So I will put that back in where it belongs. It takes a village to proofread these things, and I've read this thing about 5 times, and still there will be mistakes. So you will probably catch some and let me know. Anyway, here's your instructions for the writing assignment, and here's some tips about a way to make sure that it's easiest for you as it can be. And then here's your team thing. It's always in this color. Check to see which team you've been placed on in Blackboard. And by week 3, by the beginning of the week, I will have teamed you guys all up. So then you're going to create a doodle poll. There will be instructions and a link to watch a little video. How do you do that if you don't know? In this week 3, it's already there. It's right there. So you are going to want to take a look at that. It's very easy. You're going to make a doodle poll and send it to everybody. And you're going to put a whole bunch of dates and times on it. And everybody's going to pick all the ones they can. Not just the one they want best, but all the dates they could possibly make it. And then you're going to look and see if there is one date that everybody can make. And that's what you're hoping for. And if not, you got to go back to the drawing board and add some more dates in. But at least you can have a conversation about it. All right, next week, same deal. Here's your writing assignment. It says do the exact same thing that you were told to do in week 3, but this time it's for chapter 4 of this book. So week by week, you're just going to go through here. week 5, your only team assignment is to actually figure out how to use the virtual place you're going to meet. Now, I will tell you that some teams end up meeting in person, but the rule on that is everybody must want to. I do not want anybody calling me up and telling me that their group is making them meet in person. This is a virtual class, and if it happens that you're all conveniently located near each other and you prefer to meet in person over coffee or at the school somewhere, that's fine. I am not fighting it at all. But because it's virtual and people have an expectation that they will not have to meet in person with each other all the time, you need to learn to use a virtual tool just in case. So even if you guys decide you are going to meet in person, I want you to find a virtual place anyway and try it out during week 5 and send me the screenshot of you there, and you'll have it as a backup just in case. Maybe somebody will get sick some week, or 3 of you will be sick some week, and you'll still have your meeting by virtual thing, even if the rest of the time you meet in person. Okay, so it isn't until week 6 that you actually have your first working meeting with your team. And I'm not going to read all this to you right now because you won't remember it. It doesn't matter, but it will be on the syllabus when you need it. And the point is, there is a whole bunch of stuff you need to do. A couple of things you need to pull off the course content. They're not even there yet. The instructions rubric is there, but your organization surveys won't be there until closer to the time because of the deadline I gave them. But they'll be there before this meeting, and you'll want to pull it down and look at it. And then these little things with the little check boxes are the things you need to do in your meeting. So check them off. Make sure you do them. Okay. And it just keeps going like this. There's nothing new under the sun here. Everything is due the following Monday except a few little special things. And let's just get all the way down here. You can see when I stop that these are all videos for you about the subject matters. All right, so here we are all the way down to week 13, and this is actually chapters 14 and 15, which are 2 short little chapters about managing risk and evaluating your program, and that will be the last written thing that you have to do. After that, you literally have 2 solid weeks that you have nothing to do except complete the projects that, for all I know, you will already be done with if your teams are really good. Because, actually, make that 3 weeks. You've got week 14, week 15, and week 16. All right? You've got 3 solid weeks. Now, don't procrastinate. I mean, if you guys can get stuff done before then, that's great. And also, if you want to turn stuff into me early and have me look at it and see if there's anything you should do to it to make it better, either because you care about your client or because you care about your grade, or both, I am very happy to do that. In fact, I don't mind at all because it makes my grading easier later. So, and I love giving better grades. So anyway, okay, so week 16, this is the last week on the calendar, and you will see here your final reports are due on April 26th, so that's Wednesday by midnight. Your peer evaluations aren't actually due until the 28th. Your final exam will open up on the 24th, with any luck at 8 o'clock in the morning, but maybe not. I don't know. At any rate, I'm closing it April 28th at 4 p.m. It will be open book because the subject matter will be the exact same things you did the writings on. So if you didn't do a good job on the writings, you will probably not only have to do a lot of extra writing work for your report, but you will have to take the exam. So again, I urge you to just do it right the first time, get a good grade. It's like, right on the line between a B and an A. And if you do that for me, then you will have really good reports for those organizations, and they will be happy and I'll be happy. Okay, so for your convenience, I have put all the due dates right here so that you can see them, and I'm not going to sit here and read them to you. And then there's a bibliography of all the things that you have to read. There's other things you could read, but that's what you have to read. This is actually that sample chapter write-up. This one's got instructions in it. So on the actual template, you're just going to see these 3 questions. State the topic. What are the issues to be aware of about this topic? And I think the last one is, why are each of these issues important and what are the best practices? So the stuff in red, which I'm not going to read you, are my instructions, right? And then I actually did chapter 5. So chapter 5 is recruiting, finding and recruiting the right people to your position. So that's actually going to be the topic of a section of your final report. And all this stuff is going to go in, and you'll see I've instructed you to write the why this is important and the what. And then let's get down past this. Okay, so here it is. I took all that extra stuff out, and you can see this is what your writing is going to look like. Finding and recruiting the right people. Okay, so here's recruiting volunteers who are a good match for your organization requires you to think both about the needs of the organization and the needs of the recruit. Several issues must be addressed while developing and implementing good recruiting strategies. Okay, so this should actually start over again at A, but whatever. I just love doing this while we're talking. Anyhow, these 5 points are the main points that I took away from the reading, okay? See this first one, understanding the skill set necessary and conditions created by the specific volunteer jobs to be filled. Here it is, understanding the skill sets necessary and conditions created by the specific volunteer jobs to be filled. That was what I thought was important. So now I explain it. Making a position seem appealing to a recruit is best done by explaining how the volunteer job will meet a critical need for your organization. And if you can appeal to the importance of this job to making a specific difference, people are more likely to be enthusiastic about helping you. Okay, so ways to do that. These are the best practices that I pulled out. I won't read them, but it tells you you have to do this, and then it tells you how. So the what you're supposed to do and the how you're supposed to do it is each of these points. There's the next one, and so on and so forth. So I did the whole thing. You can see it's longish. It took me, as I said, 65 minutes to read the chapter and then to write that. It could take you longer because not everybody writes as fast as I do or as surely as I do. Oh, look, here's the rubric. I forgot it was here, so I wasted all that time looking for the one that wouldn't pop up for nothing. But here we go. This is like excellent, exceeds expectations, gets an A. You're shooting for this, okay? Now, these aren't essays, but you can read them and you can see the difference. So basically, you can tell just by looking at this, and this is generic writing rubric. It doesn't specifically go to writing the assignments, so there might not be like a statement of a problem because it's not an essay. But you can tell that by reading through these, what I will consider a worthy piece of writing and what I will not. So, all right, so down here, under here, somehow there's no spaces. This thing goes all the way down here, and these are the department's policies, and they're also online, but I put them there, so if you have any questions, and there you go. So far, I've talked for 43 minutes, and I'm going to stop now. And you've got 2 things to watch, this one and the one about whether or not you want to be in an online class. So hopefully you will want to be in the online class, and you will take my advice so that it will be easy for you and you will be a success. I'm sorry I sound so monotone. It's 2 o'clock in the morning here, and I'm still finishing up stuff for school on Monday, but I wanted to get this all to you, and I will see you more on shorter videos in the future, I promise. Bye.